Hey YouTube, this is BillyEatWorld and today we're looking at Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just a note for those of you who are familiar with the original game, you'll notice some of the transparency effects just don't look right in this footage. It was captured from a real Sega Mega Drive Model 1, so although once the video has been de-interlaced it looks a lot better, some things just don't look correct. Sonic 2 was originally released for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis in 1992, and since then has been re-released on many other systems including the Wii, Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. To date, Sonic 2 has sold more than 6 million copies, making it the second biggest selling game for the Genesis and Mega Drive, overshadowed only by its predecessor, Sonic 1. Sega's choice to include these games as the pack-in games for the Genesis and Mega Drive was key to the success of these consoles, and cemented Sega as one of the most important brands in video game history. Sonic finally gave Sega a mascot to rival Nintendo's Mario. Sonic 2 is a fast-paced 2D side-scrolling platformer in which Sonic the Hedgehog and his best friend Tails, the twin-tailed fox, battle through 10 zones at supersonic speeds to defeat the evil Dr. Robotnik and stop his plans to steal the 7 Chaos Emeralds. This is unfortunately as in-depth as the story gets, which isn't a huge issue as where this game really shines is in its brilliant presentation and fun and fast gameplay. The games in the 16-bit Sonic series were some of the standout games of the early 90s in terms of graphics and sound. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has a level of polish and smoothness that is rarely as refined in other 16-bit platformers. Although the Genesis and Mega Drive were technically inferior to the Super Nintendo, Sonic 2 was easily graphically on par with Nintendo's keystone platformer, Super Mario World. The main level designs are intricate, bright and colourful, and the pseudo 3D bonus stages that can be accessed in the main levels are unique, interesting, and show off the graphical abilities of the system. The game's music is very well composed, and its sound effects are brilliant and still unforgettable 20 years on from its original release. The sampled Sega chant, which can be heard when the game is turned on, was one of the few uses of real sampled audio in games of this era, and although it sounds grainy and crushed, the sample takes up 1/8 of the entire cartridge size. The main aim of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is to make it through the different stages alive and defeat Dr. Robotnik and his various robotic machines at the end of each zone. Throughout each stage, Sonic can collect rings, extra lives and power-ups, which will all help him in different ways, but none of these are essential to finishing a stage. Collecting rings will not only give Sonic extra lives and points, but will also act as a safeguard if he gets hit by an enemy or touches spikes, lava or anything else that can kill him. If Sonic is hit, he will first drop all of his rings and another hit will finish him off. If you are quick enough, it's usually possible to retrieve a few rings after you get hit, which makes it reasonably difficult to die when compared with other platformers of the early 90s. If for some reason you do die, don't worry, you will have plenty of extra lives and continues to keep playing with. Sonic 2 also introduced the Spin Dash move, which allowed Sonic to not only gain a quick boost of speed, but could be used to kill enemies and break power-up containers. Sonic 2's controls are relatively simple. In many stages, players will only need to use the D-pad to run to the right while hitting any of the 3 action buttons on the controller to jump. Platforming in later stages becomes more complex, but the core run right and jump mechanics remain the same. The simplicity of the game makes Sonic 2 an easy game for players of all ages to jump into, and experienced players of platform games shouldn't have much trouble navigating through even the most difficult stages. The end-of-zone boss battles can be challenging, but like many games of the 16-bit era, they tend to follow a repetitive pattern, and if at first you don't succeed, after learning the pattern, a second or third try will definitely be enough to win the battle. Sonic 2 also features a split-screen versus mode where Tails is controllable by a second player. This mode unfortunately does look squashed and doesn't feature all of the levels, but compared to other games of the early 90s, this was pretty standard. Some newer systems allow this mode to be played with friends online. The original Sonic 2 cartridge was also compatible with the Sonic & Knuckles lock-on expansion, which let players play as Knuckles the Echidna, who was able to climb walls and access previously inaccessible areas of the map. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was a great game in 1992, and 21 years later it's still a great game that I and many other players will keep coming back to well into the future. The 16-bit Sonic series spawned countless subsequent games and ensured Sonic will be one of the most recognisable video game characters for some time to come. Its ease of gameplay and simple story make it accessible for players of all ages, and experienced players can challenge themselves on multiple playthroughs by trying to finish stages faster or by trying to beat their high score. Any fans of platformers should make it a priority to try out Sonic 2, as this, in my opinion, is not only the highlight of the 16-bit Sonic games, but one of the best 2D platformers ever made. Chances are, if you own a PC or a console made any time in the last 10 years, you'll probably be able to pick up a copy very, very cheaply. If you already own a Genesis or Mega Drive and you don't already have a copy of this game, the good news is you can find it very, very cheap as well. Anyway guys, thanks again. If you like what you see, please like, comment and subscribe. If you have any suggestions of games for me to review in the future, please let me know in the comment section below. Until then, have a look at some of my other videos. I'll have some more game reviews and other videos coming in the next few days, so stay tuned.